My name is Kyla, and this is my final research project for English. To start, I think bullying people because you don't agree with their actions in a show is wrong. I think you should take people's mental health into consideration before voicing your opinion. I don't think sending death threats to people is acceptable, or calling CPS on them is acceptable. I don't think ruining someone's life by separating them from their child because you don't agree with them is okay. People have been sending hate to Islanders' families and death threats to them and brought up their past relationships onto social media. Instead of having a neutral opinion on the show, people are just agreeing with what the majority of other people are saying instead of informing their own opinion. I've seen people going on live streamings, yelling at their phone and insulting people for who they support, calling them stupid for who they support. I think when people are speaking hate towards others, they aren't taking their mental health into account. The source for that is, the article of that source is called "It Would Ruin My Life: Pacific Islander Male Adolescents' Perceptions of Mental Health, Seeking an Interpretive Phenomenological Analysis Focus Group Study." It states mental health issues widespread in the U.S. with 20.6 adults reporting a mental illness. I think you never know what someone is going through, and you never know if you're declining their mental health instead of just having a neutral opinion. Another quote says, "Left untreated, mental health disorders can become chronic and lead to severe psychological, social, and physical consequences." Again, you never know what someone is going through, and you never know if you're making their mental health worse. It can also lead to irreversible damages. My second source is a quote from Why Online Consumption Communities Brutalize. It says, "While consumption communities usually suppress verbal violence over time, it can become endemic, that is, a constitutive part of the community, a phenomenon known as brutalization." I think that if many people have the same opinion and they're seeing a lot of people agreeing with it, then they're also going to tend to agree with it as well. Another quote says, "Endemic verbal abuse may only occur in digital mediated, non-committal consumption settings, but it can substantially affect victims." I feel like bullying can affect people's mental health and make it much worse. My third source is a quote from Analyzing Bully Victim Formation Through Symbolic Interactionalism, a case study in China. It says, specifically, Olois defined bullying as a type of group aggression that is intended to inflict physical, mental, or social harm on victims with less power. I think when people have insecurities within themselves that they haven't gotten therapy for, they tend to project it onto other people. Another quote from that text says, "Prior research has associated bullying with individual traits such as gender, poor social skills, negative social relationships, low social economic status, low social emotional intelligence, and competence." I think that if someone who has grown up with many things and many luxuries, they tend to judge people who have grown up in poor economic status and had less money, financial freedom. My last source is the text "Scandalous Romance Down Under, Becoming a Heroine in The Bachelor/Bachelorette, Australia, and The Bachelorette Bachelorette, New Zealand. It says this is largely determined by contextual factors, such as societal norms for that time and place and whether the transition is already seen in unfavorable light. I think that quote means that if people decide to agree or disagree with someone's actions, and if they don't, they'll voice their opinion even if it's harmful or wrong or a biased statement. Another quote says, broadly speaking then, because scandals are engendered by societal reactions to an act transgressing norms, they in turn underline what a society considers normal standards. I think people who don't fit in society's norms are usually judged. In conclusion, I think if people are getting angry from watching a TV show because someone isn't acting the way they want them to act, I think they shouldn't be watching it. I think people calling CPS on someone and sending death threats to people because they don't like their actions is weird and wrong. I think when people are raised in a good home environment, they look down on other people because it's not what they're used to, because they're used to luxury and nice home and nice clothes and things like that. I think just because someone doesn't act in a manner you would want them to do or doesn't say the things that you would normally do, I don't think it justifies bullying them. I think bullying can lead to severe decline in someone's mental health and lead to more severe consequences in the future. Thank you for listening to my presentation.